Joining me now from Singapore is Victor Teo, an assistant professor at the University of Hong Kong. He's also affiliated faculty with the China Studies program. So, Professor, how would you describe the state of relations between Hong Kong and the mainland as we just witnessed the 23rd anniversary of the handover to China?
Well, I think from henceforth we will see an improvement because the law obviously will rein in elements who are the anti-China or anti-Chinese elements who have been causing a lot of disruption to mainland Hong Kong relations over the past 12 months or so. And I think the law has well, in implementing the law, the central government has actually established markers of what is acceptable as free speech in Hong Kong. I think the aim of the law is not to curtail Hong Kong's freedoms, but really to set a set of guiding principles whereby certain things are off limits for discussion. We all know what those things are: independence for Hong Kong, the overthrow of the central or the Hong Kong government, etc. I know there was some confrontation between the protesters and the police yesterday, but this actually goes to show that Hong Kong is still pretty free. People are still free to come out and protest against the government. So I think yesterday just showed that Hong Kong, it's the one system, one country, two systems still work.
Well, that being said, does this new national security law have any impact on that one country, two systems principle? We had a Hong Kong spokesperson say that this really only targets a small group of bad actors. Of course, some critics disagree, but what is your take on that?
I think there's a lot of misunderstanding in Hong Kong, a lot of misperception in Hong Kong about China and the central government. If the central government had really wanted to make it one country, one system, they could have just done away with the principle one country, two system. What they are trying to do is to the best of their extent, and given the conditions on mainland and the overall national strategy, is to provide a continuity to the way the Hong Kong people have lived their lives since the British times. So to that extent, I don't think the new law really affects the majority of the Hong Kong population. Like I said just now, Hong Kong people are still free to go out and protest. They are free to print things, except for the things that are stipulated in the law. I think there is a lot of unhappiness amongst the young people, and that is the root cause of why these young people are continually coming out to protest, etc., etc. But I would say that let's give the law and Hong Kong a few more months and see how it works out, particularly in the lead up to the Legislative Council elections. I'm sure in time to come we will see more stability coming back into Hong Kong.
You mentioned the younger people that have been on the streets protesting really for months now, but what is the feeling among the older population of Hong Kong residents?
Well, this is my personal opinion, but I think a lot of older generation people are a bit jaded with the protests. I know there are severe disagreements in many families. Amongst many friends I know, the really youngsters are the ones that are being really radical. It's really strange because these are the youngsters that are actually born after 1997. After they have never lived a day of their life as a British subject. And all they talk about is democracy, etc., etc. But the kind of radicalization that we see among young people is really the main problem that we have in Hong Kong today. So I would say that we actually have a generation gap in terms of the thinking, in terms of the attitude towards mainland China in Hong Kong.
All right, Professor Victor Teo, thank you so much for joining us from Singapore. We appreciate your insight.